Hello everyone, Uzikills here with another Runescape guide. This time it's going to be the Queen Black Dragon. This boss is hard, so please note that you most likely die a couple of times before you can actually kill it. It just takes time to get used to all of her attacks. But when you do successfully kill her, you're guaranteed at least 3 mil an hour or more, depending on your stats. Now for the requirements, this quest is not needed, but I highly recommend you complete songs from the depth quest. Now, I've seen a lot of guides, and people will comment saying that, they have better gear and better stats, but they just can't kill it because they're getting hurt a lot. Well, this quest will greatly reduce the damage QBD does on you. The skill requirements, you need at least 60 summoning to enter the QBD lair, but I would recommend having 68 for a war tortoise to bring more food. But if you don't have 68, just bring a terror bird. You need 75 defense to wear Ganodermic armor. You need 80 magic for Polypore Strike, or you can bring an Abyssal Wand and Orb if you can afford that. Now that does cost around 5 to 6 mil, and you need to bring a spell, you need to bring the runes for a spell. Personally, I use Earth Surge or Blood Barrage, but Earth Surge requires 90 magic, and you can, if you have 85, you can bring Water Surge instead. But if you can afford Abyssal Wand and Orb, it costs I think around 5 mil. I think that was 5 mil. Just bring the best spell you can, the best spell that does the most damage. If not, just bring Polypore. A Polypore staff is only about 500k, which is fine. Tried it with that too, and it works pretty well. I would recommend having at least 50 plus prayer. You need to use protect range, and the prayers I use to boost my magic is magic strength, which is overcharge, and you can use mystic might. That increases your magic attack rating, but I don't use that. I just use protect range and overcharge. And if you have 70 prayer and have the augury prayer unlocked from Demonheim, you can bring that instead. That requires 70 prayer. You can use augury and protect from range. That would be perfect. Alright, for the equipment, you want... Now, I use Ganodermic, full Ganodermic. That's personally, my favorite armor to use for almost all bosses. I use the Ganodermic Visor. This includes the Ganodermic Visor, the Ganodermic Poncho, the Ganodermic Leggings, the Ganodermic Boots, and the Ganodermic Gloves. Now for my amulet, I use an Amulet of Fury, but if you can't afford that, you can use a Glory. I have done it with the Glory. It works perfectly. Your cape, you can bring a skill cape, or any cape that, boosts your stats. I'm using an Abyssal Wand and an Orb. You can bring a Polypore Staff if you have one. I use a Ring of Wealth. Now, if you can afford a better ring, like a Seer's ring, I think, you can bring that instead. I use a Sign of Life, because that has the possibility of saving you when you die, but at QBD, it doesn't really work sometimes. And for my aura, I use the Greater Runic Accuracy. Now, there are higher tiers of that aura, and that increases your, attack rating, increases your offensive spells hitting the target. Now, Greater Runic Accuracy increases that by 5%. If you have the normal Runic Accuracy, that is fine. If you have Supreme, that is fine also. Alright, for your backpack, I have, for me, I have Blood Runes and Fire Runes. I was just testing out Blood Barrage to see how it works, but I usually use Earth Surge. And for Earth Surge, I bring Combination Runes, which is Dust Runes. Earth Surge uses 5 airs and 5 earths, I believe, and Dust Runes has both of those in one rune. So this just takes up 1 inventory space instead of 2. And I use an anti-dragon shield. I use that because whenever she uses the wall of flame, whenever she starts shooting that at you, you have to wield the anti-dragon shield. And whenever she does the extremely hot flames, which you guys will see later in the video, I use Super Magic and Antifire. Now, if you have a Super Antifire, you don't have to bring an Anti-Dragon Shield. And you only need about 2 doses of each of these. Super Magic, you only need 1. But Antifire, I would recommend bringing at least 2 doses. And 2 Prayer Potions. You don't need flasks, it's not necessary. You only use 1 Prayer Potion, depending on your prayer level. And the rest is just food. I bring Shark because that heals me the most. And in your Familiar, you should have full Shark in there also. For your abilities, just copy down what I have. I use the ones that are highlighted or boxed in yellow. Do not use Sunshine And don't use your healing ability. You can't really use one while you're fighting her. And I use Omni Power for my 100%, which you guys will see later in the video when I'm actually fighting her. Alright, so you're going to use the Lodestone and teleport to Port Sarim. You can use the necklace you got from the Songs of Depth quest, but I would recommend just using the Lodestone, because the necklace will take up an inventory space. From there, you're going to run northwest into the cave. And then run north from the entrance and into that shortcut right there. I'm not sure if you need an agility level to enter, but I don't think you do. Just right click and slide down. And if you were to die, you would just come over here and get your stuff from the gravestone. This is where your gravestone is going to pop up. And then you'll get to the summoning portal. Just right click and pass through. So after you enter, you have about 15 seconds to get ready. So I usually pot up and turn on my prayers. So pot Antifire, pot Super Magic, turn on Protect Range, and your best magic boost. So on the first wave, stand next to this first artifact. You have to, because as soon as you kill the QBD, you have to press that first artifact before she starts spitting out those worms. So those can get a little too much. So here you see me using my just normal abilities. I'm using my 50% abilities as much as possible. Don't use your 100% on the first wave. It's not really worth it. Just use your normal and your 50%, which is wild magic and asphyxiate. So put on your anti-dragon when she starts shooting those firewalls at you, and you see me run a few steps back and then run through the fire. And when you run through the fire, that only hits you 750 once instead of hitting you 750 twice. If you were to just tank the fire, it would hit you 750 twice. So as you saw there, I clicked the first artifact. I got into that southwest corner because that is the next artifact you're gonna have to click after you kill her the second time. So here you see me get the 100% and use Omni Power. Like I explained, don't use Metamorphosis or Sunshine ability. Just use Omni Power. It does a good 3 to 4k damage, or maybe more. And that's usually the first wave or two are easy. Since I was lagging, I was having to use a lot of food. As you saw there, I didn't get hit for 750. Now sometimes when you do that trick where you run back and then run through the fire, you won't get hit at all. And here she spawns the Torture Soul. So I walk, as soon as the soul starts to talk, or as like a second after the soul spawns, walk through it, walk beside it, one step beside it, so the shadow it spawns under you hits the soul. So then it hits the soul and then you can just kill it really quickly. And right here I click the artifact as soon as possible before she starts spinning out those worms. She was able to spit out 2, which is I guess alright. So here you're gonna have to keep your HP high, and I would recommend keeping it above 3 to 4k, especially on the last wave. So the QBD, she turned blue. Now when she turns blue, magic does less damage and physical damage does more. So like meleeing would do more damage here. So I guess just use the 100% Omni Power so you can do a good at least 3k damage on her, because that blue thing really does get a bit frustrating. And I just continue keeping my HP high. Don't let your prayer drop. I have let my prayer drop a couple times. And here you saw the shadow hit one of the Torture Souls once, and then one of the shadow hit me. And she turned back to a normal color. That means your magic attack will do the normal amount of damage it usually does. I'll explain the other color she turns into. She turns into like a greenish color, then magic does more damage. Right here, as you saw in the chat box, she's more vulnerable to magic, so magic would do a lot more damage. And you can tell, like, my wild magic starts to hit like 4,000s, which is really nice. It feels good whenever she does that. So click that artifact. This is the last wave now. You're starting the last wave. And this is where you have to keep your HP above 4,000. I would really recommend keeping it above 4,000, because right here she spawns 4 tortured souls. I think 1 or 2 of the shadows, no, both of those, all 4 of those shadows hit me and did a good 4,000 damage. But as soon as those 4 tortured souls spawn, I would try to at least get 1 of the souls with the shadows so you don't get done as much damage. Here you see me just tanking the fire because it's just there's too much stuff going on. So one of the tortured souls does teleport, or whenever the tortured soul starts to talk in the 4th wave, make sure you kill that one first, because that one can time stop you. That one can also teleport around. And just a few seconds ago, you saw her do that right here. You saw her do this extremely hot flames. Now those can hit you an 1100, but if you have your anti-dragon shield on, they will only hit you like a 400. And don't directly run in front of that. When she's doing the extremely hot flames, if you run directly in front of it, you'll get hit like a 4,000, and that's like instant death. And right here you see me killing these souls. There's too much stuff going on, and that's what sucks about the 4th wave. And that's why I also use food a lot. And you see that soul talking, make sure you kill that one first before you get a time stop. That soul can also teleport around the arena. Usually I have about 15 food left over, around 12 to 15 food left over whenever I finish the fight. But I guess this time it was just crazy. I guess it was also because I was lagging, and she's spawning so many tortured souls. Now that can happen, but as you see here, I just killed the tortured soul that starts to talk, the one that has the potential of time stopping me in the corner. I killed that one, and I continue killing the QBD. I just don't even worry about the tortured souls anymore, because QBD is almost dead, and I killed the one that can time stop you. And because I'm almost out of food, and I don't want to, just die. It's almost dead, and I think I just kill it right here. Yep, and then click that last artifact in the middle to for the loot, for the entrance to the loot area comes up right there. Everything will turn like, yeah, you see those lines, and everything will go away. You just climb down, and this is where you get your loot. And I don't want to spoil the loot right now just yet. So I get from the loot I get 50 Lantidimes. Now that was worth about 500k. Every kill you'll get 8 dragon bones and about 5 or more dragon hide, and you'll get like those dragon bolts, or sorry, the royal bolts, the royal hide. You get 5 or more. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please thumbs up the video, comment. If you have any questions, ask me, and please subscribe to my channel for more guides. Thank you guys for watching.